All right, so our next speaker is Sandra Green. She's the mother of Krista Howell. I know many of you remember Brad and Krista Howell right here. Such a tragic story. But I'll leave that to her to convey to you.
I would rather be any place else, doing almost anything else, than being here right now, addressing you in the capacity that I am addressing you in, that of a victim of a drunk driver. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a special thank you to the organizers of this event for the most important of causes. My name is Sandra Green, teacher, florist, mother of 6, grandmother of 13. February 7th, 2010, my life changed in a heartbeat. In the blink of an eye, in a traumatic, irreversible, unimaginable way, never to be restored to the way it was on February 6th. My daughter Krista and her husband Rob were slammed, T-boned by a drunk driver and killed instantly at the scene, 8 blocks from home. They were 34 and 35 years old, engineers, responsible and contributing citizens, parents of 5 children. Their lives ended abruptly and violently because of a drunk driver's irresponsible behavior, and the lives of their children, parents and siblings, friends and colleagues were altered forever. And the life of Chad Olson, the 22-year-old man, 3 times over the legal limit of blood alcohol, responsible for taking the lives of 2 young, vibrant parents of 5, had only a little diversion in his young life, sentenced to 27 months behind bars. An appeal launched by the Alberta Board of Appeals was upheld by a panel of 3 judges, and he was given 3.5 years. And less than 2 months after the appeal was upheld, the parole board granted him early parole after just 7 months of his original, less than 7 months of his original sentence was served behind bars. Less than 1/3, is that justice? A reasonable way to spend taxpayers' money? Is that a deterrent to other drunk drivers? In my opinion, none of the above. His sentence, less than a year really, and our sentence, life, that actually means life, forever, eternity. Not much of a balance. And this sentence was not out of the ordinary. It is incomprehensible to me how this represents justice on any level. The system under which we are forced to live is a legal system and really has very little to do with justice or the right thing or actions or consequences. It supports those who have money to buy their way out, and it allows the guilty to plead not guilty, and it must change. We know these facts, and this is taken from the presentation of the Rob Palliser Bill 26. We know that $12.7 billion per year in Canada is dedicated to dealing with drunk drivers. We know that 75,374 injuries, many of them life-altering, per year due to drunk drivers. And we know that 57% of the space in emergency rooms across the country is dedicated to drunk driving incidents. On average, there are 4 people per day killed in Canada due to drunk drivers, translates to more than 1,400 dead per year. And we know that the majority of those killed is between the ages of 17 and 35. We know that international recognition of the fact that the criteria for effectively dealing with and diminishing the effects of drunk drivers in society are swift, certain, and severe. Canada's legal system meets none of these criteria in dealing with drunk and impaired drivers. And this point brings us to the reason for this event and others like it. We need to change the system and employ these criteria to stop the carnage. This should not be hard, but it is, because our government's focus is not on saving lives, but the focus is on money. If you think about how that $12.7 billion per year is distributed and who it is that actually realizes financial gain from that amount, you will undoubtedly realize that it is you and I and all the other taxpayers who foot the bill, and that it is the judges, the courts, the defense lawyers, and even the prosecuting attorneys that gain under the current system. This, in my opinion, is why lawmakers and legislators are so reluctant to make the necessary changes in order to reduce the numbers of impaired drivers. Swift, certain, and severe, and we will stop the carnage. When I became a victim of a drunk driver, when my family became a victim of drunk and impaired drivers, many of you were still safe with your families intact, and suddenly you are now on this side of the fence. You have also become victims of drunk and impaired drivers. There are many of you out there who are not yet victims, but you are not safe. It could be you, it could be someone in your family, it could be a loved one, a friend who is killed by a drunk driver. Think about the statistics, 4 per day across Canada. Remember the 4 people killed by Innisfail earlier this year, the 4 young football players in Grand Prairie, the 3 young men in Beaumont, the 2 young men trying to get their car to stalled vehicle to safety, the young woman in Stepford, the young student going to the Canada Day celebrations and fireworks, the young man who was killed on the eve of his first day at Red Deer College, and the young parent of 5 children. Just think about it and realize how often it continues to happen, and quickly and ruthlessly and irrevocably. Irrevocably, you cannot change. Your lives could change. It's irrevocable for us who are victims. Just like my life, just like the lives of my family, and the lives of the family members of those I made reference to. Just think about how these people are just the smallest representation of those affected across Canada, and then be grateful that you are not yet among them, but also recognize how quickly any one of you could join our ranks. In the blink of an eye, in a heartbeat. And then, I implore you to support this cause. Join the surge to convince our government, the Honourable Stephen Harper, the Honourable Vic Taves, the Honourable Rob Nicholson, and all others who have power to help us to make changes happen. Swift, certain, and severe, and lives will be saved. Suffering will be averted, and our streets and highways will be safer for all of us to navigate. Thank you for your attention and your anticipated support. I have one more thing that I want to share with you, and that is the fact that I have a request into the Honourable Stephen Harper, our Prime Minister, for a meeting with him, specifically with him. And Earl Grisham's office has been very, very helpful, and Mr. Grisham has asked on my behalf. However, this is the result. I got a letter the other day saying, thank you for your email and phone call, and I apologize for the delay in the reply. But I have spoken with the constituency office for Prime Minister Harper and have been advised that he would not be able to meet with you, and that your issues need to be addressed by the local MP, which of course is Earl. I had hoped that if I requested a meeting for you and Earl, that would be given some consideration, but it did not work out. However, be assured that I have not given up, and although Mr. Harper doesn't know yet, he will. Woo!
I don't think Mr. Harper's ready for election.
You're right.